This is your no bullshit guide to a happier life. Quick, but not necessarily easy tips to help you to squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of your business and your life. My name is Helen Calvert. I'm a coach, a business owner and a parent, and I'm so happy to be here with you. I do swear occasionally, as the title suggests, so pop in your headphones if I'm not safe for little ears. Ready to go? Let's do this. Hello and welcome to this episode where we are going to be talking about yoga as a tool for a happier life. Do you already do yoga? Have you tried it in the past? Have you never done it? Have you tried it and hated it? Please do let me know what your experiences with yoga have been. Mine have been sporadic, as my experiences are with most of these tools. I don't think I have ever consistently been to a yoga class that I can remember. Oh no, actually I have way back in my first pregnancy. I was doing yoga and I carried on for a little bit whilst I was pregnant. Yes, so I did do it back then. But mainly my experience with yoga, certainly my experience these days, is with YouTube videos. Now, you have no doubt heard of the lovely Adrienne of Yoga with Adrienne. If not, check her out on YouTube. So she is many people's yoga instructor of choice. She's absolutely lovely. Really nice manner about her. And she does loads of different videos. She's got a huge back catalogue of videos and all for different moods, different issues. They are different lengths of time, which is really helpful because we don't all have loads of time. And yeah, I absolutely love them. I am a creature of habit. So what I tend to do is I use 3 particular videos of Adrienne's, and I'll link to them in the show notes actually because they are my favourites and they're so helpful to me. One is for lower back and hips because my hips are always tight. One is for neck and shoulders because I work at a desk, so my shoulders are always a mess. And the other is for text neck, which of course many of us suffer from. My phone is always in my hand and text neck is a real thing. So I tend to use those 3 videos and I use them to stretch out my body. That is my primary reason to do yoga. I can feel myself tense, tight, perhaps aching if I've let things get far too far and I haven't had a massage recently. Go back to the episode I've done on massage for more about that. But if I've let things get really bad, I've maybe got neck ache or a headache. I don't like letting things get to that stage, but I can feel that my body needs to stretch. It feels like I need 2 big strong people on either side of me to basically pull me until something goes pop. But in the absence of that being a possibility, I do some yoga. And I will just put on one of my favourite videos, do that, and that's it. You know, this is not some kind of mindful yoga experience where I've got special music on and I'm getting out a yoga mat, and no, I will just sit on the floor in my bedroom, in my living room and do the yoga video because I know it is absolutely the best way to stretch out my body and stop myself from feeling so tense, achy, just makes me feel so much better, and it stops me from getting bad headaches because that tends to be what happens to me if I'm too tense. If I let my shoulders get too tense, then I'm going to end up with a migraine. If I've done a lot of driving, which I love driving, but if I've done a lot of driving, I'm going to get some hip and back aches. So again, definitely need to do yoga if I've done a long drive. So it just stops me from being in pain, basically, which is, you know, something that we all want to avoid, pain. So that is my experience with yoga, just the way I would do it on any given day. That's how I use it as a tool in my toolkit. I feel like I need a good stretch. I know which videos have the stretches I need, and I do those. Now, we did recently, my networking group and we had a little yoga networking event at Kanti Yoga Studios in Urmston. And that was a yoga class specifically for us. There was about 6 of us there, I think. It was an hour, and that was a whole different experience. So actually going to a class in a lovely venue that is specifically for the purpose. You've got low lighting, you've probably got some nice smells, maybe you've got some low music. The whole thing is set up to be just a lovely, calming experience. It feels like a treat. You've got other people around you, which of course feels supportive. And yes, that's a whole other thing than just sitting on your living room floor and doing a quick video. And I really enjoyed it. It was a very soothing and calming experience. We came out feeling incredible. So I think yoga in class settings as something to treat yourself to or something to commit to if you are looking for some kind of regular class, I think it's a brilliant tool because it's so good for us physically. You know, this stuff's hard, or it can be hard. The poses are not necessarily easy to do, so you do work your body, you do burn calories, but it's such a calming, slow, soothing thing to do that I think it's one of the best tools for busy people and people who work at desks, because you're stretching out all of those kinks, but you're also soothing the mind, slowing down. You're doing a workout. It is a workout, but you're also calming the mind, which I am a big fan of. We could all do with a calmer mind, couldn't we? Now, the thing about doing it at a class, in a group, you might start feeling like you need some special kit for this type of thing. So, you know, you might think, oh, I need a special mat and I need a special outfit. And of course, that's not something that we need if we're just doing it on our living room floor. You know, I have frequently just got up, done it in my pajamas, done it in my underwear. You know, as long as it's something comfortable that you can stretch in, it's fine. So doing it in a class setting, you know, it can feel like it needs to be more of a thing. You know, I'm doing yoga, so I need my yoga stuff. But actually, of course, you don't. You just still need something comfortable that you can stretch your body in. So I wouldn't let it put you off going to a class if you think you have to buy new stuff. You know, it's not like rugby where you need rugby boots. You just need something stretchy, basically. But of course, there are fabulous purchasing opportunities should you want some. You know, yoga pants, yoga kit, yoga gear. It's a whole thing that you can get into, but you don't have to. So it can be super calming to do a class. It can be amazing to stretch out your body. You can also do it in a really calm and mindful way by yourself. So I have at times gone and done a bit of yoga in a local park, just outside somewhere in the sunshine. Again, I don't have a special mat. I've just got a picnic blanket that I put down on the grass. And I've popped my earbuds in and done a video outside. I have a client who loves doing it in her own garden, and that can be a lovely experience, and it's an extra bit to the tool because it becomes a way of spending some time outside in the sunshine, in nature, in the fresh air, which is, you know, all helpful things. So it just adds a little bit to the tool, even though you're essentially still just stretching out and slowing down a little bit. So there's ways to make it extra special, but essentially it is something you can do anywhere, and there are 10-minute videos. You know, you don't have to do an hour. You don't even have to do half an hour. The videos I do, the longest is half an hour, I think. The others are shorter because we don't have massive amounts of time, and we need this tool when we're feeling tight and stressed and, you know, achy. So it doesn't have to be something that you do for a long period of time. So I think we can see how it contributes to a happier life because we're not in pain, we're not stressed out, we're not tight and achy, and we basically feel so much better. The contribution to a happier life is fairly obvious. Are there any bullshit elements to it? Yes, I have had some friends say to me that some of the poses are, of course, absolutely hopeless if you've got big tits and a big belly. You know, like, do a standing forward fold. No, because I've got fabulous bits of my body that get in the way. So that is something to be aware of. It doesn't stop you from doing yoga. I think the key is not to think, oh my goodness, I won't be able to do these poses. The key is to point out to the lovely but twig-like yoga instructor that some poses don't work for the fuller figured fabulous woman, and you will be doing something different or adapting. Because the point of yoga is not to get your nose pressed against your knees. The point of yoga is to stretch out your body. And I think that brings us to our mindset block alert for this episode. You don't have to be good at yoga. I'm not even sure what being good at yoga looks like. I know what being flexible looks like, but even that is relative because I'm more flexible now than I was a few years ago. I'm still not flexible compared to a circus acrobat. I'm still more flexible than I guess most 90-year-olds. I mean, it's all so relative. But to be good at yoga, I guess, does that mean you can stand on one leg in a certain pose for ages? I mean, like, maybe, but I really don't feel, certainly the way I use it as a tool, it's just not about that. You don't have to progress in yoga. You don't have to get better at it. You don't have to do a certain course of videos or classes so that you get to a certain point. We're not aiming for our bronze, silver and gold yoga awards. It is a tool for stretching out your body. So if you do a couple of stretches and you feel like you've stretched out your muscles, job done. And I would hate for people to be put off doing it when it's so good for our bodies and minds, because they think, oh, I can't do this pose, or I can't hold that pose for very long, or I can't touch my toes, or whatever it might be. It's not about that. If I bend forward to try to touch my toes, sometimes I reach them, sometimes I don't, depending on the day. But what I will always do if I bend forwards is stretch my hamstrings, which is the entire point. The only reason we have people who bend all the way forward and get their palms flat on the floor and, they look super flexible is because that's the only way they can stretch their hamstrings, because their hamstrings are loose enough that to get a stretch, they have to go right down. If your hamstrings are tight so that just having your hands on your knees is stretching them, then that's stretching your hamstrings. But the point is to stretch the hamstring, not to think, oh my goodness, how far towards my toes can I get? We can so easily fall into comparison and competitiveness. And I think that really does yoga a disservice. Any yoga teacher will tell you it's only about what you can do. They all say that and they mean it because it is. I can do various different poses that really stretch me out and are really challenging, and I finish and I think, oh god, that really worked out my neck or worked out my shoulders. I might not have done it anywhere near the way that the person on the TV screen did it, but I can see what she's trying to get me to stretch, and I stretched it. So yes, you don't have to be good at it. There is no being good at yoga. There is just doing yoga. Anytime you like, whenever it feels like a good stretch would be beneficial. So that is yoga as a toolkit for a happier life. Certainly my experience of it. I encourage everyone to give it a go because I can think of nothing better for working out the kinks that come with office life and workout life. I like to do it after I've done weight training, so it's good for so many different lifestyles. And until next time, do some yoga to be excessively kind to yourself, if you feel like it. and let's continue to use all of our tools to squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of life. Speak to you next time. Thank you so much for listening. It's great to have you along for the ride. If you enjoyed the episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave me a review. And don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are up. If you identified a mindset block during the episode and would like to work with me one-to-one, you can find out how in the show notes. See you next time.